Hello everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I'm your host Josiah, aka Mahler67, and with me as always, I got my buddy, I got my bro, I got my brother Austin. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty dang good.
You doing pretty good?
Yeah, not too bad. Just, weekend's been pretty hectic.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Another one time, you got the new kiddo in your place now. Is he officially there?
Yeah, he is. He started on Friday. He's a great kid, and then he's like the kid we have now is kind of still a kid in a way, and the kid that we got now is more of like getting into his teenage years, so he's like, hey, he has different things. So like I went out and got someone I knew had a PS4, and I was like, hey, yeah, he wants to play like Warzone, and I was like, yeah, I get that. So I was like, oh well, the only place you can really play that is like PC, Nintendo, and we only have no Nintendo Switch, so we only had a Switch. And then I was like, oh, well, I can find a PS4 pretty cheap. So I found someone that had one that the disk drive was messed up. But I was like, hey, it still works. Like, you just digitally download everything on it. So we did that. Found out the controller has some stick drift and some problems. So I got to fix that. But overall, it's been a crazy weekend. Just trying to get everything situated. Everyone's trying to get into the groove of, like, everything going on. So, yeah, it's been interesting. So yeah. How was your weekend?
It was okay. I had Vampire this week. Vampire the Masquerade. It was good. Got to drive out all there. I've been really enjoying having my car in the garage. Because the nice part about it is that, like, I basically go through the apartment place to get to my place now, which is not that far away from the door anyways. But it's also really nice too, because like I get my own spot. Like it's like my own special spot. It's nearby the door. I can like get, like, I don't know, it's a weird thing to be like happy about, but at the same time it's like, man, it's gonna be really nice whenever the weather starts showing up. Like, I should have put it in before the winter came. That would have been great to have. But now, like, after like the winter and everything, and everything's kind of setting in, I'm like, that's good. I think I told you, but we found a spot near Pittsburgh for us that we could possibly play from.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have plans to go to that location probably Tuesday, honestly. I'll talk with my friend Jordan about it. Just to see the rooms and everything, and talk to the guy about, like, if he'd be cool with us, like, coming there and playing games there and everything. It would be really nice because it wouldn't be an hour drive for me to play. It would be like 20 minutes for me to play. And then it would be so much cheaper. It would be like $50 a year versus $100 each time. It's crazy how much cheaper it would be. And of course the guy could choose to raise the prices at any point and vice versa. But if we're like consistent and we're good and we're constantly doing, like, maybe he'll be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to ever raise the price.
Yeah.
But as is, it would also be in like a card shop / Warhammer store, so it would also give us the possibility of like having other people being like, hey, what's this? And it's like, this, do you want to play? And it's like, yeah. But no, pretty excited about that. Other than that, I've just been just kind of chilling. I wish I could say playing games, but I haven't really played many games this week, other than like we played the Scott Pilgrim demo.
Yeah.
On the one night, and then I was doing like Mugenics and Cult of the Lamb still, but I haven't really been like investing too heavily in those. I've been only doing like an hour play of that, and then like basically like, all right, I'm good. Ollie meowing for me, I guess. But no, it's just been one of those weeks where it's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of good with just relaxing, because like with none of the like super cold weather going through and everything, I just have my windows open and just like has a nice warm breeze that I can just relax and just like listen to like a YouTube video or like something like a TV, and then just relax on my bed, or drive around, which is what I kind of ended up doing more than anything else. So not bad. I mean, I'm looking forward to Tuesday when the Scott Pilgrim EX game officially comes out, and then we could probably play that then. I also remember to pay my rent now. So that will be done. But yeah, Austin. I think it was relatively chill and calm time for this week for me. Just enjoying it. We did. We had some weird things going on, but nothing compared to what we watched today. Austin, this week we did the TV show Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're taking a break from Harley Quinn to do a show that we both been watching every episode. We've been very much enjoying it. Spoiler alert on the enjoying it already part. But Austin, I have to ask you, how'd you feel about Night of the Seven Kingdom?
So I have conflicting like issues with the show so far. Do I think it's cinematographically great? Yes, phenomenal. I think storytelling's great on pace, and I like the hidden stuff that's with the Easter eggs and everything that involves like the thing is like going into this, I was super excited because when I first heard about this, I heard that it was like a short story, like a short book that George R. Martin did with it was all in like a compendium of other like authors, and I didn't know that. And then like Stephen King was one of those, and I was like, oh, okay. And I actually read that book, but I glanced over just to the Stephen King stuff. So then later on, I was like, okay, I'll read A Hedge Knight, because I think it was you that recommended. You're like, oh yeah, you have to read this Knights of the Seven Kingdoms.
I mean, 80% of the time it's me.
Yeah. So, and then I was told by 3 other people, like, oh yeah, it's great, Duncan and Egg, and I was like, oh okay. So I ended up reading it, and I loved. I think this is my favorite Game of Thrones material, actually, just because I think how the writing is with the book is because it's like on it pretty much like Dunk's perspective, the whole thing, and he constantly like is like Dunk the Lunk, tall as a tree trunk, he'd always like say stuff like that to himself. But the thing was like going in this, I was a little skeptical because I was like, this doesn't really, I'm trying to figure out, because the first season is the Hedge Knight, and then I'm guessing the second season is going to be the Sworn Sword, and then the third season is going to be I think I forget what the third book is called. So I'm just like, I don't know how they're going to go from there, because I also know that they confirmed that nobody in the regular cast right now will be shown in the new one except for Dunk and Egg. And probably like some of the key points, because how the ending happened, we'll see that stuff. But I don't know, there's some things that I wish they would have done differently, but also I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of it. I thought it was great. I liked that it was a comedic take on it. It wasn't too serious, too dramatic. I like that pacing that they did have. I also feel that they picked really good actors. Like I really think the actors in this it's really well done.
The kid who plays Egg is, at first, whenever I was like reading the book, that wasn't the type of kid I was envisioning. I was envisioning like a little older kid, because like in the book he is known to be kind of like older. Like even in the show he says like he's like 14 or so, but like you don't look that old, and he's like, I'm very small for my age, right? Yeah. And so I was imagining more like an almost teenager, kind of like jumping around, enjoying him. But then like this kid just like instantly wormed his way into my heart. I was like, holy crap, do I like this kid so much? He has he has the smart like reaction to things, and also at the same time like what you call it, like he like he has the wit of Egg that I very much enjoy, and I think he does a very good job about that. Molly, stop that.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps trying to eat stuff off of a plate that's off to the side. I'm like, stop that. It's not for you to eat. There, it's in the trash now. What are you gonna do now? I was kind of concerned because like how Dunk kind of portrays him in the book is like he's more manageable, able to do things and like take care of stuff. But this kid was completely capable of everything he did. They did that whole little montage where he was like in the forest running around doing all this stuff. Like you could tell he knows what he's doing. It was really good. I thought the kid was a fantastic Egg, and I'm like, I can't wait to see him more.
Yeah, like there's the casting was great. I think some of the humor was spot on. I like the humor that Dunk is really tall. It's funny. It's stupid, cringe funny. And I'm like, all right. There was some comedic beats that didn't hit like it should.
I didn't like the one joke for the whole season. No. And that's the breaking tension with a fart joke. I hated that so much. I like in the very beginning where like he's like, I'm gonna be a knight. And then like the big music starts swelling and then it just cuts to him like defecating behind a tree. I instantly went like, oh no, that's not good. Mm-hmm. That's like Marvel cringe level of like, we're going to break every like intense situation with like a comedy beat. And I was concerned. And then they did it again and then again, and I was like, well, they're not breaking every tense thing with this fart joke. They're just making fart jokes, and that's really lowbrow humor. I don't know if I like that. Yeah. And then the worst defender was the one dude who stood up at the tournament.
Yeah,
I'm like, that one was the worst one. And it also makes no sense in like the context of it for like a dude to do that. As well as like that was a really tense moment that would have been great for them just to play straight lace and just like freaking everyone's a coward, silence, not responding to him, and then like the gates open up. But people tend, I guess, liked it still because like they gave that one a really good rating. And I felt like that single bit ruined his entrance a little.
No, and I really think that they should have built on that tension with that. I was about to say the fart joke thing. Because that was the one part that I was like, really, like, we gotta break the tension with the fart. I was like, that doesn't really help me here because right now you're trying to get me to a level in ampage to get like very over the top, like that cinematic thing. And if they wouldn't have had that fart and maybe even a laugh, I think a laugh would have done better where like, he just like stood up, was quiet, and he's like, oh, and then he's like, ha ha ha, and just like laughed at him. For doing that. I think that would have been a better tension breaker than doing just a fart. Cause like, I was like, that kind of felt out of place. Like I really felt like that felt out of place for that. And then when, Baylor came in, I was like, oh, cool, great. But I wish I would have had that tension because that's the kind of tension I like in a show when like it pays off a little bit. You're like, oh, hey, we've been waiting for this cool thing to happen. And this is the cool, embracive thing. And you got the background music. It's all cool, heroic. And then I was like, okay. Like, well, but no, overall...
That was the truth of it, though. Like, it felt like that kind of ruined that whole, like...
Oh, yeah.
But people still, like, got bought into it at the very end there with Baylor coming in.
They fish hooked everyone. They were like, oh, here's this. Oh, you didn't like it? Oh, here's another one.
No, not terrible.
But... I will say this, cinematography is great in the show. I loved the scene where, so when we're talking about Trial by Seven, the scene where Dunk gets jousted, he gets off his horse and he lands in the mud, and then they do a background story.
Yeah, the flashback.
And then in the part where he's like, get up, and he just like, the camera that's inside the helmet, the camera inside the helmet where it just like he wipes off the dirt, I was like, that was really well done. I enjoyed that shot. I thought it was great. I will say this, I get that they're trying to set Dunk up to be this like legendary, heroic, the biggest knight ever, which supposedly he was one of the best knights of all time through the Game of Thrones lore. I felt like the over dramatic of the fighting with him being stabbed multiple times and him taking a lot of blows. And I feel like when he fell, it just felt like to me that it was just like this. I don't know. I think it just felt like
I think I know what you're saying.
kind of overdone a little bit. Like I like, because the thing is in the books, I remember like him, you know, he does grab the shield and he does do that, and then he ends up like fighting him. I remember that, but I don't remember, you know, like him getting stabbed with the lance or like the jousting thing. No, I don't remember a lot.
I think they add a lot more to the show.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, because remember there are two different iterations of this story. There is the book one. There's the book itself, written by George Martin, and then there's also the novella, the comic, the graphic comics, right? Yeah. And each of them have like the same pictures being painted, but like some alterations a little bit, because it may be easier for them to draw it a certain way than having it the other way. Yeah. I agree. Like, whenever I remember reading the book, I think I mentioned to you this already. I remember like the fight with Arion being more one-sided in Duncan's favor.
Yeah.
But it being like Duncan learning about like the difference between him versus a knight. Like, it's like, hey, Dunk, you're really tall and massive. Freaking use that to your advantage, and then it just becomes one-sided once he realizes like Arion is just this like twiggly little like knight guy. Once he got like the first like grab on him, it was kind of over for Arion.
Yeah.
But in this one, they kind of made him like for being like a coward knight, he did a pretty good job of like fighting Dunk off. Like, I'm like, I don't get why he's a knight. I mean, a coward. I thought he was going to be much more of like a 1-2 hit, and then he's like, oh, F this, I'm out. And then like he refuses to yield and he just tries running. That's what I thought they were going to kind of present, because I think it would have been easier to show and cheaper. Also, there was a couple moments in the show that they showed certain things that I was like, he's dead, right? Like,
yeah, like that's what I was like. Like when he laid down and like he was like looked like he was dead, I was just like, that like, was a lot of blood and wounds.
If they just had him like close his eyes, then I could kind of write it off as like him like slightly like trying to catch his breath and be like, huh. But it was the fact that he like knocked over and his like eyes dead stare forward, and it's like,
I can see like maybe passing out, like, you know, because your body's going through that kind of passing out makes sense.
But isn't passing out, wouldn't you close your eyes like when you pass out?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they would have just, I think it would have been more believable if he closed his eyes. Then I'd be like, oh, he passed out. That makes sense. And then he just woke up. That I think brings up more, because the thing is also too is, I just feel like with the dead stare, I think they just did that to intentionally be like, oh, we might change it.
Yeah, it was intentional to like be like, he's dead, like, you know, to give the crowd, because like the eyes would only matter to us, the viewers, not to the crowd, because if they just see this big guy drop over like that, you instantly assume he's dead. So having him close his eyes would only be like a tell or not a tell for the viewers itself, which is probably why they did it. But it felt weird for that decision in my head, from like the perspective. I'm like, I've never seen someone with like dead eyes effectively wake back up.
Well, that we got to see a lot of cool characters that like I actually did a lot of research on. Like, so for instance, I did not know this until I started like looking into it, but Baelor Targaryen, the guy that rides in like at the last minute, you know, and it's like, I will help you. I didn't know that he didn't like come to that tournament suited to fight. He borrows his son's armor. Yeah. And they show like a scene of that, and it's actually just a little snug. That's
they make the reference, I believe, in the show.
Yeah, they do, like earlier in the season.
Well, no, they do at the end, whenever the one kid who's like at the bonfire, and he says, "Is like, why did my dad have to die?" Like, a father burying his son in his armor is kind of normal. A son should never have to bury his father in his own
armor. That's what it is.
And so it's like, I'm like, Also, side note, the guy who played him freaking gave me chills. Like, he spoke very little, barely did anything, but when he spoke, I was like, dude, give that guy. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it was fantastic.
Well, I'm just saying, dude, this guy, like, when I looked up more about the Targaryen that character. Like, I did not realize that he went one-on-one with Damian Blackfire and actually won against him. And the thing is like, I was just like, dude, this guy's cool. Like, I started looking up a lot of cool stuff about him. I was like,
you're talking about Baylor, right?
Yeah, Baylor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
see,
like
that was the issue. Like the thing that everyone kind of points out when it comes to Dunga is they're like, did Maelor try to kill his brother?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, no, he didn't. He was over in his point, like he was just getting like very hung up about his boy getting beaten to hell. Because to him, he very much believed Dunk would only kill his kid to verify that he was not the person. So of course he would be like overstrength. Meanwhile, like Maekor and all of them had only the intention to hold them off, to like stop them from interacting effectively, right? So him like reacting and like fighting as hard as he can to get to his son, that made complete sense to me. And it's like a tragedy, and I'm still under the banner of the people who believe it was all just a very bad tragedy, but it was a tragedy. Like if there are gods in Westeros type deal thing, it was they looked upon everyone there and judged them accordingly by what happened that day. Yeah. And the Targaryens are the ones who lost the most.
Yeah. So. That and like, I'm going to bring this up because I actually remember him in the book, and then I remember like everything that happens with him in the book, and that is the Laughing Storm, which the guy that played him, I like the charisma that he brings to the table.
Great charisma, man.
He's got great charisma. Like, screen charisma is off the charts with that dude. And I laughed so hard when he was talking to Dunk under the tree, and he was like, all right, we'll talk later after the roast. And then they just like transition right to the funeral. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Is that what he was meaning? I was like, I think it was 100%.
Him and the, I think their name's the Fossaways, the apple, or Bunbury. I forget who, what his one friend's name, the one who knighted him, the one he knighted. The Apple family.
Yeah.
I forget their
the
name.
Apple
I think
family.
I want to say it's Fossaway, but I don't think that's right. But like they all hate the Targaryens. Like they blame the Targaryens for all wars that have happened in the last like 40 years in the Seven Kingdoms. And that is fair, because all the big wars that have happened in the last couple years has been the Dance with the Dragons, the Blackfire Rebellion, and then there's still people where like Daemon's going to come back with his son and going to reclaim the throne, blah 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 blah. Like, they hate the Targaryens with a burning passion, and it makes sense that none of them have any type of like loyalty or interest in them, because Dunk, unlike them all, who are like, they're all lords and everything, Dunk has a very like commoner concept of everything, and so he views the Targaryens as like rightful rulers, and like they're the ones in charge, so we have to protect them. Meanwhile, the other lords, he's like, you're also in charge, we have to protect you, and the other lords hate the Targaryens, and vice versa. But it was just, it was good to see that like interpretation, and they also do a great job currently here with setting the seeds for future installments of the books, because of some of the things that happened in the other books, and I like that. My only issue I had with the Laughing Storm was his helmet in the fight. Yeah. It looked so cheesy. Not like the antlers, because like the one that they have in the books and everything has the antlers.
It's the antlers,
but it has like weird bar cross hatches and everything. It looked flimsy compared to in the book, where it looks like very like ornate, decorated. But no, I enjoyed that. I also love the fact when me and you watched the one episode of the Trial of the Seven, and they didn't mention the one his friend where like he had green apple, and he's like, rather be a unripe green than a worm-ridden red, because that's what his cousin was. And then luckily enough, they sneaked that in the finale, and I was like, okay, fine, I love that. I like that. Like, they got the line in, they got to see him. Whether or not that woman is like lying to him about being with child or what, they kind of like fit each other's they kind of like do like a yin yang treatment to each other.
Yeah, opposites attract thing.
Because like he is a like good fighter. Like he survived a trial by 7 with very well known knights, and like he is barely beaten up. Like you compared to other of the dudes, he's barely beaten up. And like his wife is like really smart. She was like telling him how to do or like be certain ways, and it's like they're gonna get far together because of the fact that that combo exists. Like it's the equivalent of the heck, I wouldn't be surprised. Are the Fossways part of the the Greenlands? Because they always say about the Tyrell that the women rule and the men are their like their knights, effectively saying like the Tyrell men are not actual leaders, but the women are. And I'm like, that's kind of what their family's going to be, and it's going to be a strong family for that matter. Like he doesn't have to be the leader; he just has to protect her, and then she knows how to take care of things, so she'll take care of him and everything.
Yeah, and we also got to see like on screen. So like the other characters from actually the Trial of 7, I was waiting for them to like come in, like because the Humphrey brothers, which is Beesburg or Beasley or whatever, Beesbury. I thought that was pretty cool. And then Robin, because Robin Rislin or whatever his name is, he's the one that, if I remember in the book, actually gets like the reason why his eye is gouged is because of a jousting accident, which is
the one who in the show they kill him off instantly.
Yeah, they kill him off instantly. But
what about him? He died on the first like tilt. Like, oh fudge, that sucks.
Well, that, and like they also talked about how like because one of the Humphreys, you can see, like, I didn't notice this until someone pointed it out to me, but like when the Humphreys actually, one of them actually faces the Targaryen before in a jousting match, and he jousts his horse, that part where they show him where he jousts his horse, that's disqualification. So like the next scene you see later on in when the Trial by 7, that's actually that Targaryen's horse, because he had to give up his horse for him because it was a DQ.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and he was at a disadvantage too, because like after the fall, that I think he like broke his leg from the horse falling on him.
Yeah, he did, because like one of them breaks the leg. Yeah.
Well, they whenever he's on the horse and they're just like, you're going to join us. He's like, I don't need to walk if I have a horse. Like he taps his horse, and I'm like, that's metal as crap, dude.
It was so well done. Like, I think this show did really good. I like the amp that they've had going. I actually like the little side story. A lot of people didn't like this side story that they so when the guy that puts on the knights like gathers everything at the beginning, he like does that thing. When he comes to Dunk and he's like, hey, I want to win a lot of money here, so like, will you take a fall for me? And I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. I was like, but I think what they're trying to do is build up the honesty and the pride that Duncan has to be a knight and 100%. Be a knight.
Yeah.
And I loved that they put that little in. I was like, that's a good addition. I like that. I did like the shield. I thought the shield was really well done. The only difference, that there was another scene that was different in the book, I remember, was at the point where Dunk and Egg are like laying down in the elm and they see that shooting star. Duncan doesn't know what that means, and then Egg says, it means luck, and he's like, oh, so we're all, everyone else is in these little tents, so they don't have any of the luck, we have all the luck. I remember in the book that actually Duncan already knows that fact, because like Egg is asleep at that time, and because I remember like the inner dialogue that Duncan hags about, he's like, oh well, it must be my luck, and the luck's all mine because I'm the only one that's looking at the falling star. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. What the difference is, though, is like I asked a lot of people about the show, like that started watching it and never read the book. And I was like, hey, were you surprised about the little plot twist in the beginning with Duncan? And they're like, I mean, with Egg. And they're like, no, we kind of caught on to it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of felt that they should have done a little bit better with that, because that was like one of my favorite parts of the book.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I understand like the reason for that, because there's a difference between what you're doing and what they did, right?
Yeah.
for people who have read the books of Game of Thrones or like other things, there's 3 things you kind of catch on very quickly in Game of Thrones and what George Martin likes to do. And that is 1, secret Targaryens, which are consistent in every one of his stories. There's always like a character that is a Targaryen. It's like, oh, he's a Targaryen. Very common. 2, anytime you see someone with a shaved head, you instantly assume they're a Targaryen if you read the books, right? And then the last one about like the Targaryen, like the last thing is the nomenclature of egg. Aegon, Egg, Aegon, Maegor. There's EG in all their names to a degree, right? When you're reading the book, and from like your perspective, you're not seeing the baldness whenever you read it. You read the like description of it, and that may not stick in your head and everything. So when he gets revealed as Targaryen, unless you've read all the other books at that point too, you're probably not seeing that. Meanwhile, if you watch A Knight of the Seven Kingdom, and this little boy starts walking around with his accent and everything, you're instantly assuming like this kid's more than he seems. Like, what makes this kid so special compared to everything else? You know, one thing I did like that they did, and did you catch the break in Egg? There's this single scene where they make a reference to something from Game of Thrones that was said in the TV show. Did you get it? The first time Egg finds him on his horse, whenever he goes to the stable, and Egg is on the horse with his armor on, he's like, oh, doing that, right? And he's like, Dunk's like, what are you doing? And he's just like, my lord. Like, he says, my lord. And someone pointing out, is just like, it cuts to the Tyrion thing, it's just like, my lord. If you were a commoner, you would have said, my lord. They mull their speech. My lord means that you're a properly trained individual. And it's just like, see? That's a good callback for the people who paid attention to that. And so,
yeah.
I like
and so, bringing up Egg, I will talk about the elephant in the room that I am not a fan of. I think the show had a really good takeoff. I loved it, but the ending at the last minute kind of teared me away from it. Okay. So here's the problem I really have. I did not like that the ending shows that Egg was not allowed to go with Duncan.
Well,
I
we
felt
don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
What do you mean that?
We don't know that.
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't know that yet.
How do you not know that?
I mean that in all forms of it. I mean, we don't know that in the books. We don't know that in the show. All we know is that in the final scene, Maegor is like, or Baelor, or whoever, I get the two mixed up, and I'm going to forget them. He's like, "Where the freak is Egg?" And like, that's the end of it, right? And of course, that leads you to believe that Egg sneaked away, right?
Yeah.
In the books, it kind of leads to the same thing as well, because whenever they sneak, in the books, Egg joins with him, and Duncan kind of just takes his word that his father allowed him, right? But at the same time, in other parts of the books, wherever he's like, well, do you remember what your father told you whenever he let you come to me? He's like, yeah, he told me I had to shave my head, I had to make sure I hide my clothes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there are multiple integrations of that. And in the show, like, that ending bit of, like, where's Egg? It's supposed to deter you to believe that Egg didn't get permission, but there's always a possibility that he still did, and that's just a red herring to make you think that. It's also could be a complete herring for them to reintroduce the father again to give his permission at a later time. So even though like it very much sets it up in a way that makes you say like he didn't get permission, he slipped away type deal thing, it could also be not the truth. They have a tendency of doing that in George Martin writing specifically has an issue of doing that, leaving something ambiguous enough so that way whenever he finds out what the fans like, he'll make finalized later. He kind of does that a lot. Because in the books, I have the sneaking suspicion throughout everything that Egg did not get permission to go with him. and he's lying to Dunk, and Dunk is just too thick to understand, like, the kid's like conniving and easy to like manipulate him. And in the show, I'm like, they'll probably go with that too. So this small little bit at the end was probably just to tell everyone, yeah, he's lying to Dunk, which means that some issues could occur in the future. I don't think that's bad of a situation, unless that's not what you're talking about here.
I don't know. I just feel like it's the problem that I have, and this is why I want to bring it up, is because if it's not addressed later, that's the problem I have. Because like, after I've been told that a lot of them are not returning for season 2 because it's going to be their adventure, if this is just something that's brought up and then never resolved, I feel like it can hurt the series. That's why I'm upset about it, because I'm like, address it at least and say that he did run off, or he didn't run off. Or what I could say, because one of the things I thought about was like, what if this isn't this scene is just like kind of like a fake scene? Because what if this is before, this is the first time Egg ran off, and this is the events before Egg left the first time? And I was like, maybe it's going to show like a background so they can like spew a little bit more of the season in. They'll have like a little small story about Egg leaving the first time and why he left, and have like a little short story of Egg. But I don't know. The other issue I have is like, there's not a lot of material, but like what I've been told is like they want to go for a little while with this.
They have more stories from Gert Martin himself, who's been telling the writers how they go and what's happening.
Hopefully.
Well, I think these writers are probably learning more from Dan and Dave, who basically got bullet points. Because let's be fair, right? Gert Martin has almost half of his book series out for Game of Thrones for a story he wanted to push for about like 9 books, and he only has 6 of them almost. I think maybe there's 7. I don't know how many there are. I get lost in the sauce with the number of books of the Song of Ice and Fire. But with this series, it's a very easy way to keep pushing, because ultimately, when it comes to like the characters in these books, they just have to maintain true to 2 characters' personalities, and that's Dunk and Egg. The extra characters, every character they introduce in each season, or any character that may transcend a season, can evolve and elevate each season, but we're not following them. It's not about following them, it's about following Duncan and Egg. That's the thing. Like, next season, if they're doing off the books, it's going to be about the Chequy River.
Yeah.
And if that is true, that's a year after they're already on their way. Like, that is a year. Yeah. They went to Dorne, they tried to find the painter girl, and they couldn't find her. And so they kind of said, like, F it, we wasted too much time in Dorne, let's go somewhere else. And then that's when they became hedge knights to that guy. I forget what his name is. And so they'll have like a year gap between each of the chapters, or each of the seasons, right? And they can easily talk away that issue that you're having here in it. Like, it could be like, yeah, you know, like, just like the last time you didn't tell me about how you left without your dad's permission. He's like, but that all worked out. It's like, yeah, after they hunted us in Dorne, like, they could just easily pass over that stuff. Will it be super satisfying? Probably not, because people want to see it. But at the same time, I think what would be a nice little funny thing for them to do is to add a Vegeta to this series. It's not in the books, but it would be funny for them to introduce, like, the one, the drunkard Targaryen dude who, like, ends up, like, I'm pretty sure he just drinks himself to death, or he dies of the summer flu, whatever it is, right? It would be funny if he gets tasked with, like, I have to find Egg. And so occasionally they'll run into him, and they're just like, what is he doing? He's like, I'm here to find you, Egg. And it's just like, oh, okay. And then they just keep, like, slipping away from him because he's a drunk. And then it's like, yeah, who cares? And I say Vegeta because, like, Vegeta is always trying to catch up to, like, Goku and Dragon Ball Z, but he never catches him, and he kind of becomes, like, a parody kind of almost. Vegeta fans are going to be upset that I said that, but you get what I'm saying. Like there's a better term or a better character for that, but it's like Team Rocket almost, and it's like that could explain away your issue where it's just like he wasn't given permission. It's like, yeah, but obviously the dad doesn't care enough to send like the White Cloaks to it. They're going to send like someone who is kind of belligerent who wants to leave and get them out of the capital, like get the drunken son out of the capital so he isn't causing like issues for your family there. And then Egg wants to be out in the city, out and about, like being raised by a commoner and being a sellsword. Sure, let him have his life. You have plenty of like heirs and everything for now, you know, like it'll be interesting. So that would be my personal take. And who knows, maybe Martin even had that intention in the books, because we only have 3 novels right now. Like we don't have a lot, and he already said that he had like plans for like 7 or 8 more.
Yeah, because like the next slot is they're going to Winterfell, so like that's where they were heading at the last book, I remember. And so like I know it's supposed to be like the She-Wolves of Winterfell is supposedly the rumored title.
Oh, that's awesome!
But we'll see.
I love
that.
Yeah.
So
anytime they introduce the women of the Starks, whenever they're like when they're identified as She-Wolves, you know that they're going to be hard A people, and it's like they'll deem the respect of everyone around, and it's going to be very fun to have Dunk in that situation, because Dunk's going to want to be maiden saver with them. You know, he's going to want to be like, I'm here to protect you, and they're going to be like, nah, my sweet tower, sit down. I'm going to protect you this time. Like, that's what I'm excited about. That'd be cool. Other places I would love to see Duncan and Egg to go. Like, I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, the Wall. I'm like, I don't really care about the Wall. I would be cool with a subsidiary Night Watch tower. Like, there's a handful of castles north of the Gift that are no longer being occupied by Night's Watch because they just don't have the numbers to occupy them anymore. It would be cool for Duncan and Egg to go visit one of those places and deal with some issue there and like fight all that stuff, because there's some cool stories of like the different Night Watches.
I don't remember, but I think it might be later on. Because Dunk becomes a Knight's Guard, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Kingsguard.
Or Kingsguard.
Very, very
and
late, yeah.
He actually fights the Laughing Storm, I think, in a joust, if I'm correct.
I mean, yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're saying Laughing Storm, I'm thinking of the Laughing Blade or something like that.
Yeah, no. The Baratheon. I forget. Final Baratheon or.
But the Laughing Storm keeps showing up multiple times, because like there's a point where he tries to rebel against.
Well, I want to see. Like I really want to see him jousting or like fighting like knights with like the helmet, like their different weird helms that they have, like the little like decorations, and he like because I remember in the novella where he like slices them off and he throws them to the crowd and stuff. I was like, that's a cool thing. Like he's just like this knight that's like, I'm here to party and have fun, guys, but I'm cool. Like you're like, so. I'm pretty interested in I
was also pretty sure, like, even though like so someone pointed out that it's like we have a strong sneaking suspicion that all the Baratheons are gay. Like they just don't know they're gay.
Well, that Dunk scene in him.
well no, so someone pointed that, like, I was reading like someone talking about it where they're like, Renly was the first Baratheon to embrace it. Stannis is in a loveless marriage that he married for like everything, and he has no joy in his world. And I think it was in the books it talked about the only person he ever like deemed close enough to like be around him a lot was Davos. Yeah. And it's like he has kind of like a bro love for Davos. Then meanwhile you have Robert Baratheon, right? Who only loves fighting, and his favorite thing he loves to do is be around Ned all the time. But he can't love Ned because, you know, that's a guy. So what does he do instead? He loves Ned's sister, who is just Ned but better, you know? So it's like, it's kind of like on the same thing. It's just like you're kind of projecting there. And then you have the Laughing Storm, who literally starts dancing and like having fun time with him. And he goes up to him, he's just like, come with me back to Stormend, and I'll love you like a brother. Like, it's like maybe all the Baratheons are kind of gay, and they just They just over masculinity, and it's just that's what's causing it. And I just was laughing at the whole concept that it's like each Baratheon that keeps getting bored. It's just like, I have this strong urge, but because I'm partly Targaryen, like I can't marry my siblings. Like, gotta find someone else. Hey, you're my best friend. Because it's also funny from the context of the Baratheons, where the Baratheons came from, with the first Baratheon being literally the supposed bastard brother of Aegon the Conqueror. Yeah. So the concept of them being like big, like brotherly love, like, hey, they always find their one person that is their brother at arms, and they like are best friends forever. Makes sense. And it's just funny, like you could sit there and you can like reinterpret. It's like brotherly love. It's funny to me. It's really funny to me.
Yeah.
That was a good post that someone posted, and I very much enjoyed the conversation, and their like anything that someone brought up, they were like able to will it away because of the writing of the Baratheons. And I'm just like, guys, checkmate, man. There's nothing you could say. They just what if you. But no, the series was great. I love the characters they got for it. The kid who plays Egg and the guy who plays Duncan, man, they are freaking fantastic. I love the relationship out of the show as well. Like the person who played Dunk has basically kind of adopted him as a brother, and they're going around doing stuff all the time. He like took him to a arcade place, and they're like, oh, that's nice that you took him to an arcade store. He's like, I wanted to go to the arcade store. I just thought he would like to go too. And I'm like, that's great. I love it whenever actors get along that way. And I will be excited whenever they go back to the thing. And the other good thing, and this is more for me like meta-wise looking at it too, is the fact that there's no dragons. The plot is a evolving cast. The only two characters that are going to be consistent is Egg and Dunk most of the time. I'm sure they'll bring back certain cast members after like but I think whenever they were saying that the people are not going to be in the series, I don't think what that means is that they're not going to show back up. They're just not going to be in next season, because next season is a standalone isolated story that doesn't involve other like Targaryens or anything. It's a very homegrown story, the next one is. But then after that one, the other one will probably involve some of the characters again.
Hopefully it doesn't turn into House of Dragon season 2.
It won't. There's no way it turns into that, like the thing, right? Because I explained to people that I'm like, the issue with House of the Dragon is that it's all like referral information, right? It's like it's someone telling you a story about these people. You're not getting the dialogue. All the dialogue from House of the Dragon is being dreamed up by writers in an HBO room, and that's why the writing tends to suck occasionally, because they're corporatizing the writing to be like, we have to make issues and like drama here. And it's like, sometimes the best drama in writing is not like intentional drama. It's just very simple, like, I hate you because you killed my son. It's like, I hate you because you killed my son. I won't let this go away. Done. They don't have to be a whole like, you killed my kids, but like, I'm tired of all this fighting, so like, I'm going to betray my kids for some reason. Like, it's like,
well, I think also
what is this soap opera writing?
Why I like the show compared to House of Dragons is because, one, I really think the reason why House of Dragon kind of flopped there towards season 2 was because the budget was spent more on the dragon CGI.
I wish that was the case. Because the issue is if it wasn't the dragon CGI that people had issues with. It was the writing.
Yeah, the writing.
That's the issue, Austin.
Well, that's why they're like, hey, we got to fire these 2 writers. We need that dragon.
Yeah, we need more dragons, baby. Like,
but, all right, well, I was gonna say it's already 9:30.
Are you? You're over here like, I'm done. Let's wrap it up, boy. I'm over here. I'm like, I keep going, man. Game of Thrones.
No. Well, also too is like the time is calling for me to go to the bathroom too.
Oh, so. Okay, that's fair. Okay. Well, Austin, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Bros and Shows. Anyways, let's keep talking so that way you have to sit here longer. No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you all out there so much for joining us as well. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.